Hello there, you wonderful web-wandering wizards. Brennan Valentine, the Pretentious Fiend here. I didn't want to change that colour. And today, we're here with a little bit of a track review of Billie Eilish's new song, Therefore I Am. And yes, if you know anything about me, I am starting off in this position because God knows these pants demand more attention than I do. Billie Eilish is of course one of the largest stars on earth at current, and has a great track record of making really interesting and uniquely toned pop music. And judging from the kind of distance that she's had from her first full-length album, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?, it's probably getting into the time where she's gearing up for another album cycle. And so with this new drop, a lot of fans are very excited to see if this is the new sound she's going to be going into. Is this going to be representative of what we're going to have for this album cycle to come? And of course, whenever you have a huge amount of success, releasing that next album can be a treacherous and weird kind of area, because I believe it was Bon Jovi of all people said you get your whole life to write your first album and 6 months to write your second, and your sound is not as fresh anymore because people have heard it, people have gotten used to it, and so it'll be interesting to see if it delivers something new and fun, or if it is going to kind of roll into fitting into a kind of pocket. So without further ado, I will take this wondrous hat off and we will have a listen. From this angle right now, this is what it would look like if Jesus had a podcast. Ha! Straight off the bat, right into the deep end, letting you know my immediate opinion of this song. It's a really good fucking track. It's a really good fucking track. The very first thing I'm taking away from this track is the intimacy of the vocal production. It is intense when you have straight away this line.
Stop. What the hell are you talking about?
The small nuances where you can hear that she's smiling cheekily while saying that is really intimate and personal, and I can only think that that is a dramatic artistic choice, and I'm really behind it, especially because you get the feeling that this is a song that is kind of directly sung to, say, critics, like if you were to look at the recent thing where she was pretty radically body shamed in the media, or people who are latching onto her with her newfound fame. And so it has this direct conversationally spoken to angle, which is at times kind of intimidating, and it's really interesting tone. Overall, the vocal production in the song is fucking great. The intense amount of bizarre, dark and interesting harmonies, which is classic Billie Eilish. And underneath it, they've got this big, thick, greasy, very dark bass. A lot of Billie Eilish's songs I really feel are written with the bass guitar in hand. Her music is always having that as the big musical feature as opposed to just the specific beat. I don't want to say dub in the way of like Thievery Corporation type of bass, but it always has that cool, calm, creeping bass. And especially because this song seems to really dwell in some like harmonic minor stuff, which is a really big difference for pop music. Like, and you end up with that great riff that is because it is dark, it's dramatic, and it's one of those, I don't want to say Billie Eilish secrets, but it is one of the things that gives her that really unique tone, that kind of and with the general message of this song, that really sassy, intimate vocal production allows us to pick up on a lot of that nuance she's doing. Like I said before, the way you can hear her smiling adds so much cheek to this. And just sticking on the vocals for a bit, she throws a lot of different vocal cadence influences at us. There's, in the first half of the first verse, you get this kind of pretty simple, forward-going cadence, and then it just slams into this kind of jazzy, soulful little downward cadence that is really, really nice. And then going into the second verse, you're hit with this kind of interesting, harmonious take on R&B and rap kind of cadences. And of course, she's always been very known for having that low, patient kind of voice. She's not known as being like an Adele-style belter. And that chorus really leans into that strength of hers. And moving on to the production of this, look, her brother Phineas is a killer producer. He has a great ear for finding bizarre sounds left, right, and center. And it's really interesting to see how through their success he's actually really even progressed and really honed this sound. And I'm reminded, because of course they did that James Bond soundtrack song, there are these James Bondish style strings that swell up and get plucked and cut off in this really interesting dramatic soundtrack kind of way. All in all, I think this song is a really great addition to the pop songs of 2020. And if this is the kind of tone that they are going into for a next album cycle, I think they're on to another fucking winner, to be honest. When I first heard Billie Eilish a couple years ago, I was super refreshed about this being a huge success. It was such a refreshing and interesting sound to hear. And it's great to see that they're not so much resting on that, but this does feel like they've taken those tones, everything that everyone has loved about that first album, and are kind of boiling that down and maturing on that. And this really does feel like both of them are progressing as artists in wonderful and cohesive ways. So do yourself a favor, go check out this song. It's been a quick little review from me, the Pretentious Fiend. Do the things! Like, share, subscribe. Leave this failing aging musician something to do with his life.